And that's what I think people teach. Like if you read a book on networking, or you and I know like networking experts, I I generally tend to find a lot of what gets taught out there like not only just ineffective, but like super cringe. Like I don't want to do it, and I can tell when it's being done to me. Like the person who walks up there and they're just a little bit too slick, and the first question is always like, "Hey, so what can I do for you? Like what's going on in your world? Like what can I do for you?" And I feel obligated to give them some profound answer when it's like I'm generally fine, but I just feel like somebody gave me homework. Like I hate that. Like, do you have any other examples from like your world, your experience that people do that you're like, bleh?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode. In this case, it's the networking episode of Business Lunch because Ryan and I consider ourselves to be pretty much the best networkers on the planet. Would you agree with that, Ryan?
I would not agree with that, not for any stretch of the imagination. Just to set this up, Roland's like, I think we need to do an episode on network, and I was like, I think that'd be great because I suck at it. I'm not very good at networking. Roland's like, do you think I'm good at it? I'm like, yeah, I think you're really great at it. He's like, well, I don't. It's like, cool. So, networking tips from two people who both think they suck at networking. Go.
Why? But this is who you want to listen to, guys, because it's you want like networking is something that a lot of people absolutely dread. If you told me I was going to a networking event or Ryan, we would do everything we possibly could to get out of it. Is that correct?
Or just get it, like not even go. Like even if we couldn't, still not go.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean,
like ninja smoke bomb, like I went and then like you actually do that.
I
So
was gonna
Roland
say,
does this. Roland, we will go to. I'm not going to say which. There is a group that we're a part of, like, and the organizer likes to put on these like really big networking parties, these like flashy celebrities and all this stuff. I mean, like literally, like TMZ will be there, like paparazzi will be there because of the quality, like because of the people that are in the room. Obviously, not there for us. And we'll be like, all right, we're going to do it. Let's do it. We're going to go. We're going to freaking network. It's networking time. And I'll like psych myself up and you're like, all right, yeah, I'm definitely going to go. And I'll turn around, man. And like 5 minutes in, you just vanished. Like, where are you? It's like, yeah, I'm in the car. I'm back to the hotel. So, yeah, so that's a good setup. We both hate this and yet we both do it.
yeah. So
So,
here's the,
what's your,
here's the, well here to me here's the takeaway. So you have to think about what is networking. To me, networking is meeting people that you don't currently have a relationship with and maybe that you've never met before who can potentially broaden your connection to other people. Let's just say that. So there's not necessarily a business component to it, even though when most people talk about networking, they're talking about it from a business standpoint. But I would argue that you never know who you meet is going to know in their network, and therefore you really shouldn't have it as a business agenda. And I think that without a pre-agreed upon expectation that everyone is there to meet for business, it's kind of what I would call transactional networking, which I don't
Mhm.
think is long-term effective. So like
And that's
if
what
it's
people teach. Like if you read a book on networking, or you and I know like networking experts,
yep.
I generally tend to find a lot of what gets taught out there like not only just ineffective, but like super cringe. Like I don't want to do it, and I can tell when it's being done to me. Like
Yeah.
the person who walks up there and they're just a little bit too slick, and the first question is always like, "Hey, so what can I do for you? Like what's going on in your world? Like what can I do for you?" And I feel obligated to give them some profound answer when it's like I'm generally fine, but I just feel like somebody gave me homework. Like I hate that. Like, do you have any other examples from like your world, your experience that people do that you're like,
All,
bleh?
all of that. It's all of that. Everything from it's ambush networking where that where or in a group setting. Very often it's like, okay, we're going to do a networking tables. Everybody's going to break up at the meeting into tables, and then say what your biggest challenge is. It's like, I mean, I'm working on all my challenges, and I've tried to work on this as a hey, I must have a limiting belief around that, that I'm good with all my challenges and I'm not good at accepting help. I know I'm good at accepting help, but I'm not good at accepting help in a forced group environment with people I don't know, because I don't know that I should trust them yet, and I don't know that I I don't know that I should trust the advice or referrals they give me. And I don't know that I want to be vulnerable with those people about things that could be, competitive disadvantages in the wrong hands. So it's, I think that asking somebody to do that without any context or experience is is tough for a lot of people. And so that's why I wanted to do an episode on networking, because I don't think you or I, if you drop us in that TMZ room type environment, or you drop us into a Chamber of Commerce party or most other things, I don't think either of us is going around and expanding our network by leaving with, any contacts. But let's say that we accidentally, leave with one or two. We're definitely not leaving with a pocket full of business cards and we're going to follow up and reach out. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
So that's why I like us talking about it, because if you're that other person, then you're networking just fine. But you may learn something here that's different. And so what I would
this is
argue is,
networking for normal people.
yeah, networking for non-networkers.
Love it.
So the first thing would be there's transactional networking and there's actual networking. And transactional networking is I'm going in with an agenda that there's something that I want to get from these people who I'm meeting, and I'm going to try to think of something I can give them, hopefully, but sometimes not, that I can give them to cause them to give me the thing that they have that I already know I want. To me, that's a really short-term kind of thing. And there's not anything wrong with it. That would be in like a BNI or LaTip or those networking groups where you're supposed to come with a couple of leads. And if you're actively looking for leads, you'll probably find them. I mean, I'm sure that we could send a lot of business to a lot of people if we were actively thinking about how can I find business for these people. And so a group like that could be very good for you, particularly if you're just getting started. Now, I think that you and I have pretty extensive networks that we talk about accidental entrepreneurs. I think that we are accidental networkers, because whenever either of us talks to someone, and we do talk, we're curious. So you're going to ask somebody, if you meet them now, not at a rubber chicken dinner or those stand-up tables with too many people in the room, but if you get introduced to someone, or even if you're, say, sitting down somewhere and there's somebody next to you, you're very likely to strike up a conversation. Either they're going to talk to you or you're going to talk to them. And then you're going to say, so what do you do? They're going to tell you. And then you're going to be curious and you're going to ask questions about what it is they do, both because it's socially cool to do that and because it's very awkward to go, all right, and just go on about your business.
That's great.
Right? Yeah.
Look at you.
Good for you. Finger guns. But when you do, they're going to start talking about them, which is going to be their favorite subject to talk about, because it usually is for all of us, right? And when they start talking, if you are curious and you ask more than, the most surface level question, then a actual conversation will come about that might cause you to feel that you connect with them in some way. And that then can lead to networking. Now, what both you and I will also do is, if there's anything based on what they say that we could offer as perspective or help or experience to share, we're going to do that, because that's just who we are, right? And so if you can, even if like you're not a generous person like that, or you're not a curious person to start out with, create and cultivate curiosity and create and cultivate a sincere interest in other people. It's actually fulfilling to learn about what other people do and what challenges they have, and then give them any perspective you've got. Not like I know it all and I'm telling you how you should solve your problem, but just asking questions can be like that curious questioning kind of connection can be really, really good. And what ultimately happens is there's going to be some benefit that they're going to get, which will trigger reciprocity, and they'll want to do something for you. And then if you did feel that you had any connection, you're going to exchange contact information and you're likely to stay connected. Maybe you thought of a connection you could make, in which case I'll text them together right there, because if I don't, I'll never do it. And like what is it that I can do for this person? And I don't expect anything back is always, to me, the best way to approach that kind of situation. And by doing that, I have thousands of people in my phone that I can reach out to, and probably, four or 500 that I know well, and I know you've got a pretty extensive network there too. And then when we come together in business, my network is your network and your network is mine, and like that expansion just really explodes. And it turns out you're very connected, but you didn't mean to be. You weren't, howdy and a handshake at every function to get to know them, because those usually are not going to be lasting connections. They're not going to actually turn into somebody that's in your network. They'll be they'll be a contact in your billions of contacts, but they won't have any context or any experience in any investment in the relationship to where you would actually be able to think about doing something for them. So I think that's like that first level of networking for non-networkers. And the second level is
Wait,
learn.
can I speak on that just a little bit? That
Please.
because you said a couple things that I think are so important that I haven't heard anybody articulate it quite the same way. Good networking is curious, not strategic.
Yes.
Right. That's what real, true relational networking is you are genuinely seeking to know the other person. You're not simply being strategic and trying to figure out, okay, what's something they need that I can connect something to so I can extract value from.
And
So,
I would call it, the only, I agree with you. The only distinction I might make is it is strategic. It's not transactional, because strategically you might choose to, if you're in the pool cleaning business and you want to network in the pool cleaning business, you might attend functions for where you knew that people like that would be. Or if
right.
you're looking for funding or financing, you might go to a venture capital or growth, you might hang out in those worlds. That's strategic, but not transactional.